We're rocking them John Pauls. Okay. The camera's up there. What's up? What's happening? What's the day today?
Sunday, September 2nd.
Sunday, September 2nd.
2018.
As you can see, Weller's not here today. He's on a little vacay, so I got one of my good friends sitting in over here. I call her CarlaJoeSue.
CarlaJoeSue.
So we'll go ahead and send out some the shout-outs for the new subscribers, and then have Carla introduce herself to everybody, and we'll get going. So let's see. We got Bill Delamine. What's up, Bill? Deborah Blockton from Arkansas. What's up, Deborah?
Arkansas.
Ruby Jones. Linda Rocha. I believe that's a Galt girl.
What?
Olivia B. Hill from Porterville. What's up, Livy and the kids? How you doing? Robert Rosenberg from Maryland. Rising Sun City. What's up, Robert? Thank all you guys for subscribing. If you're watching, tell one of your friends what's up. Hit subscribe. It don't cost anything. No. And then, primaries are coming up. So we got 3 new council members. They're going to be elected to City of Galt. This guy came by yesterday, Tom Mawson. Talked with him a little bit. Seemed like a good guy. I'm on Sean Farmer's tip, so he's our Galt boy. Hope to elect that guy. And then I'd give Tom a look because he looked like a good dude. But enough about all that. As you can see, we got our replacement for Weller right here is Carla. Carla, go ahead and tell everybody what's up, what you're about.
Well, thank you, Kevin.
There you go.
Oh, thank you, Kevin.
There you go.
Thank you, Kevin. Really loving this. Sounds really good. So I am Carla. I am a mother of 2 boys, Marco and Teo. Hi, babies. Love you.
What's up, boys?
Well, I guess I'm from San Jose, California. San Ho,
Bay Area eyes, huh?
You know it. All day. Love it there. Undergrad, UC Davis. I got an MBA from Drexel a few years ago, and I'm in the healthcare industry. But
right
number
on.
one, I'm a mom, so.
I think I've been knowing Carla probably 12 years now.
Oh, something like that. It's been a while.
Carla was with my boy Marco. He's one of my friends, and he's my best friend. Now he's like brother status, so he's like family. And Carla's right there too. We went to Mexico last year.
Oh my gosh, Cabo was such a great trip.
It was cool. Unexpected that tornado shit tore, or what was it? Is it tornado?
It was like a hurricane.
Hurricane, that's right. Hurricane tore it up.
It was a mad storm.
Yeah, because even at the place that the band Kiss owned, that place,
right.
They didn't have air conditioning and shit like that. And I was just like, what? These guys are super ballers. How come they haven't fixed their shit yet?
Because they're going to global warming.
What was it? Cabo San Jose, is that what it is?
Cabo San Jose and Cabo San Lucas.
San Lucas.
So we stayed in San Jose, which is the more family-oriented vacation spot, whereas San Lucas is more, the spring breakers and everything. So that would have been us, before.
That was cool. It was a good time.
Yeah, super good time. Super good time.
So this is Carla. We're gonna work through an hour today, make stuff happen. Hold on, let me turn this around. Go ahead and
all right.
Go get started. You pick the topic and we'll get started on that stuff. Then you get a little perspective.
Oh, shoot, all right. Well,
got a bunch of stuff, so
I think it's appropriate to start with Labor Day, A, because it's tomorrow, and then B, I happen to be wearing a Zapatista shirt and Zapatistas in Mexico.
Carla's bilingual, so she'll throw some of that at you. So.
But it's to honor the workers, right? It's to commemorate, not just labor unions, but just the American worker.
Started in 1894 by not Peter McGuire. It was
McGuire, but James Matthew McGuire.
McGuire,
a machinist.
Yes. So they had some issues with layoffs and stuff like that, and then I guess they were building the railroad, and the workers got together and said, you know what? They put it down, made a strike, and then was it the first Saturday of September.
Right, the first Saturday of September.
So the first Saturday of September every year we celebrate Labor Day because it's for the American workers. It's just an American thing, right?
Well, I mean, the country wouldn't be where it's at if it wasn't for the worker, right? I mean, you need to have a strong economy going in order to be, to build, from the ground up. And as a young country and around the Industrial Revolution, it only makes sense that, eventually workers were going to unite. We're going to, unionize in a sense, right? For better working conditions, right? Better wages. Because, at that time, and even some would argue it's still occurring today, that owners of business or industry, their number one priority is that bottom line, right? Making sure that shipment gets out, making sure that the number of units is completed, making sure that there's, whatever it takes to get the job done. And back then there was no accountability for, workmen injuries, right? Overheating, let's say, in like enclosed areas.
All the snowflake stuff we got today.
Right. And some of those things are good, but yeah, I mean, I might have gone over the ledge a little bit.
I do. I'm down for that. No, like if you, like you were talking about Chavez earlier before in warm-ups,
Yeah.
He brought like the water and the bathrooms and all that kind of stuff out to the fields and shit, and that kind of stuff, that's what Labor Day is about. It's making it better for everybody. The working conditions are better for us.
Absolutely. And not just making it better for the worker, but also getting the public involved. Because, again, we're providing not just a worker, right? Is not just providing, a product for the owner to make money, right? It's not just profit. They're also providing a service and or a product to the general public. So I think that's why the UFW, the United Farm Workers, Cesar Chavez, right? That's why they were so effective, because they involved the community. They didn't just go to the grape growers and say, hey, we have unfair conditions. We have no water out here. We have no bathrooms out here. We have children out here working all hours of the day. We have no health care. We have no good living conditions. No, they took it to the stores. They brought their issues to the face of the consumer. Hey, you are buying grapes from this farm. Guess what? This farm.
That's what they do. It's dirty.
And so they made it a human issue. And I think that's, again, what made it so effective is that they made it human and they brought it to the consumers. And so, of course, that's an evolution of, the whole union history from the beginning, is in the 60s. That's how we're going to affect change.
Yeah, we're going to, I'm a union guy myself. Most of my friends are union
Absolutely,
guys. There's the other side of the coin when you don't work union, and there's perks to not being union too. Like,
yeah, I'm not union.
We got people that at work that don't pull their weight.
Right.
And there's no derogatory thing that happens to them for not being productive.
Right.
They're protected.
There's no consequence.
They're protected by the union. Where if they were on a personal contract or had to go for their wages themselves every year, they would really have nothing to fall back on. They would be like, well, I produce half as much as everyone else. Mm-hmm. I need a raise. Yeah, right. Yeah. You ain't getting no fucking raise.
Exactly. I mean, it's like this whole seniority thing, right? I give
seniority.
I give some credence to that. Like, as if you've been working here so many years, right? I'm gonna give you some sort of acknowledgement for that, maybe a certificate. But you know what? If someone who started working here a year ago is outperforming you and knows the job better than you, even though you've been here for 5 years, I'm sorry. Yeah. Brother or sister, I'm going to promote as a manager, as a supervisor, or an owner. I'm going to acknowledge and recognize that 1 year person over your 5 years.
That's what.
Like I said, I'll give you a certificate.
Yeah, that's what unions prevent.
Maybe I'll give you a gift card to Starbucks, but
they prevent that from happening, and I think it almost makes everything try to stay like, let's say an average day you did 10 jobs.
Right.
So you got guys that do 14, or you got guys that do 6, but with a union. That's what it does. You kind of get stuck around that average, where you're not going to have everybody doing 20. When they're expecting 10 and everybody's doing 20, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But if you're out on your own, you got paid per job or did something like that, you'd be busting your ass to get 20 done every day.
Your hustle's going to be a lot different.
Yeah, you wouldn't be taking back on 4 jobs a day kind of thing.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
so, I mean, I see the positives and the negatives with union. I mean, I've been a union employee and I've also been not a union employee, and I see the benefits of it both ways. And so there are definitely some things that I like about unions, and I think that they are definitely important to the workforce, the American workforce, but there are other things where...
What do you think about government unions, though? That just passed, like, where they don't have to join the government unions now. You know, like, for teachers or for post office workers, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think unions are good, but I mean, I think that just falls along the line. It doesn't matter what industry, to me. Like, there are positives and negatives having a union. With the government, I'm really stuck because I really am an idealist in wanting to believe that the government is truly for the people, and so I know it's like it's a dream, right? You know, it's not gonna happen anytime soon. But it's a beautiful idea, and so I don't know, man. I'm really torn with that one because I want to leave it to the hands of us, right? The taxpayers.
Well, I think you know, we're doing all right. We're still, as America, we're still growing. We're still.
Can we call these teen years? Do you think we can call these the teen years? You know, like,
teen years,
or do you think this is like the 20s because we're like in our second, we're going into our 30s?
Well, maybe? that would say that there's going to be an end at some point. Like America would end.
Okay.
That I mean.
I see. Like we'll only be like around for 800 years, right? Like 80s when we die.
I don't know. I've never thought about the demise of America, but if you look at Roman Empire,
right.
The Aztecs, the Egyptians, Mayans,
the Persians, Alexander the Great, right?
Yeah,
even the English Empire, right? At one point ruled everything. Spain, when they were conquering all the Native Americans, right? When you were over here looking for...
Well, and you can go back. There was Native Americans conquering Native Americans. I mean... Yeah. There's always been some type of empire that rules for a while and then they go away. Yeah, yes. So I don't know. I guess you'd have to look at that and say that someday America might end, you know?
I mean, it's a cycle, right? Everything tends to be a cycle, and so there is always, just as the sun rises, the sun also sets. And so
we'll get into that with our next topic as to why America probably will end. But
okay.
as for Labor Day, I want to say Happy Labor Day. I hope everyone out there is having a barbecue or a party or whatever, or just kicking it. But that's what tomorrow's for. You know, rest up. Me and the old lady, we watched Ozark 2 came out. We watched that whole thing yesterday. She almost made it all the way. But
almost made it. But yeah, no, I mean, if it wasn't for the workers, America wouldn't be what it is. And, I mean, from the beginning to now, I mean, let's not forget the fabulous 40s. I mean, it was our workforce that really made us a superstar in World War II. I strongly believe that we would not have survived had it not been for all the women. What are women? Well,
look at, I mean, it
right,
hasn't
that
even,
wins the workforce,
women,
so.
Would they pass, that was the 19th Amendment, where women have the right to vote?
Yeah, the suffrage. Yeah, the
Women's Suffrage Act.
Yeah.
So that's not even 100 years old yet. So you can see America's still growing.
Right.
I mean, and
so that's not to say our cycle's going to end anytime soon, but you know,
we're doing our thing. But happy Labor Day, everyone. Absolutely. We'll close that one out. We'll go to our next topic.
Okay.
Go ahead. That's how we end the topic. So go ahead and what do you want to go on?
I mean,
how about the lady who was walking her daughter was walking the dog?
Yes, let's talk
So I don't know
that.
if you guys heard this story or not, but it was a couple of weeks ago. This 8-year-old girl was walking a Doberman Pinscher around the block, and you know, when I was a kid, I want to say when I was like 6 or 7, we used to take off in the morning and not come back till it was getting dark time, unless you went to eat or something like that. But we played all over the place, and not in good neighborhoods. My understanding is this lady was lived in a good neighborhood.
I can't remember where.
Like a gated community type thing. So there was only like 3 blocks in the gated community area.
Yeah, we got to look up that story so that we can give the exact.
Oh, it's all right, because this is, you know.
Okay, well, y'all can look it up.
In case you don't know, this is what I got. Like, you've heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? like you're only 6 people away from knowing Kevin Bacon. Right, so that's what I have with my percentages. My percentages are like 6 degrees of being correct, either right or wrong.
All right.
So if I say something's like 85%, it might be 79, or it could be 92. But I have that 6 degrees of separation. So,
she was 8 years old.
Yeah, she was definitely 8. She's definitely between 2.
It was a safe neighborhood, white neighborhood.
See, she was definitely between 2 and 14. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be right on that. Okay. So I just get the 6 degree thing. But So she's walking the dog, and a neighbor calls in and says, "Hey, this girl's like lost or not lost. She's
by herself walking a dog.
Yeah, like what do they call it?
Abandoned.
They called it something though. Like they called the police on her mom for
a welfare check.
Child welfare check. Yes. So the police show up. They ask the girl what's going on. She's like, "I'm just walking my dog. I live right around the block."
No big deal.
Cop's like, "All right, let's go talk to your mom." So they go talk to the mom. Everything's legit. It's cool. The cop and the mom settle it. Like, hey, just somebody calling in or whatever. Yeah. That wasn't enough for the neighbor. So the neighbor called child welfare services out for the parent. Because she's not a helicopter parent. She trusts her kid with the dog, and allows her the freedom to walk around the block and shit. I mean, that was a given. I mean, when we used to play, we didn't have phones and all that kind of shit. So the only way you knew something was going on, you'd look around the block, ride around on your bike.
Yep.
You see everybody's bikes on somebody's lawn, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's where it's going down.
That's where everyone's at." Yep.
That's where its party is. That's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And you come home when you hear someone calling your name, or the lights in the street come on,
or the whistle.
Yep, or a whistle or something. I mean, so Kevin, I'm a little bit younger than you, but I grew up in the '80s, and yeah, we were always around the block, down the street, at the park. Yep. I mean, I'm talking as young as 5. Like, I walked to school in kindergarten.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was me and my cousins and the neighbor kids across the street and the neighbor kids down the street.
You had some folks with you.
There was at least 5, 6 kids with us walking to school, walking back. I mean, like I said, down the park, down to the corner store. We never came inside unless we had to eat, we had to go to the bathroom, or it was bedtime. And you had to call us in. We never went home willingly unless, like, we were hurt or, again, the bathroom.
Or you're hungry, yeah.
So,
you got to take a dump.
Yeah, so...
'cause you could pee somewhere, but you got to take a dump at the house.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have to go back to the house. But, I wasn't blessed like y'all and could just pee, in the bushes or whatever. Believe me, I was jealous about that. I tried. It just didn't work. But, yeah, so... As a kid, I don't understand that. How are you going to call the police for me just walking my dog in my neighborhood, around my block, whatever? But then, as a mother, as a parent, well, there's 2 things here. So first, I don't see any problem with my children doing anything like that. The reason why on my particular street, I have a reason is because my house is situated right on, like, this like court that kind of curves, and so unfortunately there's lots of traffic on that street because it leads out to a main street. So we get lots of teenagers, people just driving real fast around that corner. I don't want my boys to get hit. I mean, that's just, so I tell them to be careful, but they still play in the front yard. But I guess where my problem with this whole situation is that my kid's just walking their dog.
Yeah, and it's a nice dog. I mean, if you've seen the dog, it's a Doberman Pinscher. The dog could probably tear anybody up that came along.
Where is that? I fail to recall that being something on the bad parent list, or the list of, things you shouldn't do as a parent that's going to get police called on you, or potentially have your child taken away. Like that you're, in my mind, you're not hurting me, the parent. You're hurting the child from being a child and doing what naturally
allowing them
do.
That freedom. But I heard this saying the other day. It was snowflakes come from clouds. So you got to blame the clouds in this scenario, right? If you don't allow your kid that freedom to, if you always hide your kid and protect them from everything, right? They get no street knowledge. They got no street cred at all. They got no common sense.
Well, it's the common sense. I mean,
and that's what happens because, you got to have, like when I was a kid, I'd trade baseball cards or I'd trade action figures and stuff like that. And when you're little, you get fucked over on trades. You don't know. You don't know it. You think you're getting a good trade because this kid that's 2 years older than you's cool because he's 2 years older.
Right, and they'll tell you, like, I'll give you 2 for your 1. And you're not realizing that your 1 is so much more valuable than the 2, whatever they're giving you.
Exactly.
But you're just like, hey, it's 2.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, I'll trade you.
And he said he's going to throw in, a popsicle or something.
Yeah, he'll say something like, I'll trade you this Bo Jackson card for your dirty ass
that's wrinkled.
John Elway and Joe Montana rookie cards.
Yeah, you don't want that.
And
this
I'll be
is
like,
dope, man. This is clean and fresh.
Yeah,
I'll let you ride my bike for a week. I'll let you ride my bike for a week.
So these kids are never going to get any of that. And what's going to happen is when they do become older people and they are out in the world for the first time, right? Okay. They're going to get fucked They're gonna get fucked over. They first of all, they don't know how to act with other people because a lot of these other people have come up that way.
Right.
So they got that advantage of having that way of living when they come up.
Right.
But these kids that are helicoptered and protected all their lives, they don't have that common sense. It's not common.
Yeah, no, of course not. And they're not going to fit in the real world unless they're completely sheltered. I mean, and that's the whole point, is that you're not allowing them to live their lives. You're protecting them from the inevitable. Like, how are you going to protect them, mom and dad, from a broken heart?
Was that a ghost? Was there a ghost in here?
I think that might have been my thumb.
It's all right. That one's not cooked up.
But how are you going to protect them from, like, a broken heart? You can't protect them from a boy or girl who does not like them anymore, does not want to be their friend anymore. You cannot protect them from, teachers, from bosses. Actually, you probably can nowadays. I wouldn't be surprised if, we hear in the news anytime soon that, like, a parent has called the boss, has called the boss on behalf of their son or daughter to be like, yo,
that's like
I'm excusing them. Here's a note. Here's a doctor's note. They're sick. They can't come to work. You know what? You're yelling at them. They're stressed. Yeah. They can't handle your abuse. I mean, at one point, I get it. But at what point do we stop and let them be fucking adults?
Well, that's coming, but on the back to the dog thing. So the cop shows up, talks to the mom. Everything's legit. Mm-hmm. But the neighbor wasn't satisfied with that, so neighbor called Child Services.
Because I'm sure the kid didn't stop, right? The kid kept doing it, right? Yeah.
So Child Services comes out, does a welfare check on the mom, the whole family situation, to make sure there's no type of bad shit going on, that this little girl's out walking by herself. Right. Like, why isn't her mother there with her?
Right.
So the investigation goes on for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is all taxpayer money. 2 weeks it goes on.
Yeah.
You're involving judges. You're involving social workers. You're involving taking up the parents' time and the kids. Everybody's affected by this. And at the end of 2 weeks, they're like, yeah, the kid was walking her dog.
Yeah. No biggie.
There's like no set age to you can say, oh, well, my daughter's 8, so now she can walk the dog now.
Yeah. I mean, are we going to have to start putting age limits on stuff? I mean... look, I get that seat belts and the child care seats are important, but I mean, we now have a weight and an age for that. I mean, at what point, did we as parents say, you know what, government, we don't know how to parent, so go ahead and tell us when we can start doing these things for our kids and when we can stop? I mean, I don't mind recommendations, government regulations, whatever, but those are my kids. So...
That's like the seatbelt law. Back when I was a kid, I can remember rolling with my grandpa in his truck. It was a bench seat, right?
We were in the back bed, 6 of us, with no seatbelts, no restraints, with lollipops. There was no little camper hanging off the sides like, oh my God, look at the field, look at the cow.
Yeah.
And
your ass could fall out anytime.
Yeah, we all still alive. I mean, am I broken?
Yeah, and I'm sure there are some dumb kids that fell out. we got a dog. This dog jumps out of the car. She still jumps out of the car when it's rolling. It's like 3 times now. I'm not teasing you. She hasn't learned. I can't believe it. I mean, like, the first time she should have been like, oh, fuck, that hurt.
Right.
But she's not. Again. She's fucking dumb like that. And I'm sure there's kids like that that'll be like, I wonder what happened if I jump out of the truck.
Yeah.
Well, you'll probably find out, but you got to let them find out.
Right.
That's the best form of, Darwin right there. Let the fucking dumb people figure out that they're dumb.
Absolutely. Like, that's why you let them ride the bike and you take off the training wheels and you let them fall. You have to let them fall because people... Look, man, without getting too personal, I have been through very crazy experiences personally the last 3 years. And if there's one thing that I've learned is inevitable in this life is you are going to fall. You are going to fail.
Yeah.
And that is okay. As a matter of fact, often, though, that's what we need to do as a human being to either learn or grow or whatever. And I just feel like riding the bike as a child, that's one of your first steps right into like becoming a big girl or big boy, right? And so that's an example of life. It's playing out.
That's cool that you acknowledge boy and girl. I like that.
Absolutely, because I mean, we have to. I've got to give kudos. I'm not being gender biased, right? I mean, I'm trying to be PC, people, but at the same time, fuck you, right? I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. If you don't like it, you don't gotta like it. It's my opinion. I'm American. I can say that.
I have no problem with boys and girls, or if you want to be other or whatever, that's cool too. Whatever, do your thing. I mean, I don't care.
I'm not gonna go that far, but
it's not gonna change my life. But on that topic too, I was thinking about that dude. He's like 32 years old, lived with his mom and dad still in the basement. Yeah. Mom and dad took his ass to court.
Took him to court to make him
move out. Yeah. And he was like long haired, like you can totally tell, like an internet troll, like. Mm-hmm.
Probably a virgin. And that's bad, but just.
But mom and dad were like, "No, it's done. We raised you. You need to get out."
And the judge even scolded him. The judge even scolded him, like, "You have no case, son. You have no case. You're an adult.
They no longer have to take care of you.
There was no valid reason for this."
Because he was like, "Mom, you and dad brought me into this world. You made me come here. No, you need to take care. You need to take care of me."
Well, I mean, I kind of feel him on that argument. I really did not ask to be born. However,
what the fuck?
However, but yes, no.
That's a perfect example, though. Tools, right? That's a perfect example of helicopter parenting, though.
Yes, if you do that to your kid, that's what's going to end up. Yes.
Yeah, this is the extreme. I mean, this is the worst probably case scenario there is.
And wasn't he an only child?
Yes.
See, so I don't know. I really don't think that's a trend or a trait. But so I come from a 7-kid family. I'm the oldest, and so my mom did not have time to spoil none of us. So we kind of all learned on our own to do what we had to do and help out around the house. And so, I mean, I was on my own at 17. I moved to Davis when I was 18, and I mean, so for me, something like that, like, wait a minute, you would stay in your parents' house? I mean, I know people that as soon as they hit 18 were out, ready to go.
No, each one of the
falling
kids
on their faces, but you know what?
Each one of the kids told me and mama that I can't wait till I'm 18. I'm gonna get out, get my own place. I'm like, you're 18. Why aren't you moving out?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I tell the boys too. When you guys are 18, mom's done. And they're like,
no, it takes a little while, and I understand too.
I mean, I'm not gonna tell them that now, but like secretly, if they want to stay, I'm not gonna tell my babies to leave.
Well, I was thinking about this when
but I'm not gonna be taking care of their asses either. Like
no, so I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. I bought my first house.
Oh damn!
And I think I was making like $20 an hour, and my first house was like $107,000, right?
Right here in G-Town.
No, in Elk Grove. But I remember that I think my house payment was like $907 a month, right?
Ooh, nice.
And so I started thinking about it. I said, okay, because the kids now, to make it, if you wanted to buy an entry-level house, brand new house now, you're probably paying $350,000, $400,000 for an entry-level house, right? Yeah. So at that rate, these kids would have to be making like $60 an hour.
At least.
To be in the same spot I was back when I was that age. And that's impossible. I mean... These kids are lucky now.
I mean, on your own, yeah. You would have to be partnered. So, I mean, you would have to either go in with someone, have a co-signer.
But it's fucked for them. They don't. And,
completely. I totally agree.
And I thought about the same shit, too. Like, my grandpa told me when he bought his house, he paid $15,000 for it.
Yeah.
Like in 1962, he paid $15,000.
Yeah.
And I want to say he was making like maybe $42 a week or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
it kind of creeped on, but it seems like the last, 5-10 years, the housing prices have fucking gone crazy. And the wages haven't kept up with it. Even though we're in California,
at all.
It fucks us.
Absolutely.
But that'll roll us into our next topic. So we'll close out that kid walking the dog.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
That is some bullshit. Okay, hey, by the way, heifer neighbor,
people raise their kids,
nosy neighbor, that's why you mind your business.
Yeah. It ain't your kid.
I mean, that's the bottom line, mind your business. If someone's not bleeding, crying, broken and bruised, leave them alone. Yeah. I mean, really leave them alone. That's really none of your business.
They don't need medical aid or nothing, leave the kid alone.
I mean, honestly, I think that woman should be fined for wasting taxpayer money. That's real, because I pay taxes, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will close that one out.
So, I really like that noise.
Speaking about taxes, that's what we were going to talk about was taxes, because when this guy came by last night, this City of Galt dude, I was talking to him about stuff, and I had told him that we're thinking...
wait. How long did you spend talking to him? I was just curious.
I don't know, about 5 minutes, maybe 7 or 8 minutes. That's I don't know.
Okay.
But he basically, I told him we were looking to buy land out of California because we're planning on moving out of California.
Damn straight, yeah.
And he asked me why, and I said, well, when I spend $1 in here, that dollar's been taxed 12% because of California state income tax, and then it's taxed another 8% by California sales tax. So that's 20% of my dollar, or 20 cents out of my dollar goes straight to California.
Right.
That's fucking bullshit.
Right.
It's fucking bullshit because I never get food stamps. I never get medical. I never get education.
Nope.
I never get what now they got that heroin clinic.
Oh yeah,
the free
the free clinics where you can go, and I mean it's okay. So I see the positive of having a safe space for people to do their shit safely.
So what about a pedophilia station then?
But that's the thing though. But at the same time, it's just, you're just encouraging. You're.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, it's not good.
It's illegal. You're encouraging an illegal act.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to do that, then we might as well have whorehouses because, I mean, it's illegal. But you know what?
I guess
why not?
I guess the Catholic
Let
Church
them do it somewhere safe.
Catholic Church has been doing it for years, though.
All right, now.
They didn't give him priests an opportunity to.
Yeah, that's just wrong right there. Goodness gracious.
But, okay, instead of rolling on, I want to get on the tax thing. So.
All right, let's get back on
This guy made a point to me. He goes, if you move out of California, you're never going to be able to afford to move back.
That's all right.
And he's saying it to me like, warning me kind of thing. And I was like, don't you understand? That's the whole reason I'm leaving. I don't want to come back.
Right.
This is eventually going to get worse.
Right.
It is. And the most beautiful cities, like L.A. was so awesome.
Yes.
Venice Beach is still one of my favorite beaches. We went down there. It's fucked up now because of all the homeless and shit that are down there.
Yeah.
Tearing shit up.
They're not getting fined for peeing or doing drugs or
shitting.
Or pooping. Yeah. Okay, well, I wasn't trying to say pooping, but yeah. San Francisco's the same thing. The city reeks now, and I'm from the Bay, so San Francisco, when I think of the city, that's what I think of. The city is San Francisco, and I love that place. I mean, the food, the architecture, right? Just the water itself, the Golden Gate. I mean, everything about it, just all the cultures melding together. Everything about that city, the energy is alive. But the minute you roll your window down, after you pass that bridge, when you roll like all the way in, it's the worst.
It's because it looks cool from far away, right? It looks cool from far away. It's like
it's a Monet, is what you're saying. It's a Monet.
You're a girl, so you might understand this. You think this guy looks hot, right?
Are you talking about a butterface?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see this guy, you think he's hot, and then you drive up.
I think girls are hot too.
Or you think this girl's hot, and you drive up.
I can think girls are hot.
And then you're at the stoplight or whatever, and you see him over there, and all of a sudden she turns around and is like, ah! You know what I mean? That's San Francisco. That's San Francisco now.
Yes, I do. Yes,
because it looks pretty from far away.
It's a Monet. It looks good from afar, but up close, it's
dirty.
Oh, what? Why?
And it's only getting worse.
Yes.
We had a new guy come into our yard, and he worked in Hayward. He worked in San Jose. He worked in Tiburon.
Yeah.
Right, and Tiburon's ball on the spot.
Oh yeah, they got a bank
at these yards around where he come into work.
Yeah.
There's homeless tents set up all outside on the fucking sidewalk and shit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when the first person set up their tent and shit, right?
That's right. This sets the precedent. You let one, more are gonna follow.
So how are they not going about handling that right when it starts? Why do you let it become an epidemic where you got like fucking 120 tents out there now?
That I have no idea. Other than
the
argument is like, it's about, it's a human thing to do, and yes, but wouldn't the more humane thing to do is, instead of giving them a handout and encouraging them to continue to be homeless and engage in this behavior, is maybe give them job skills, give them some place where they can take a shower so they can actually go and to an interview.
A lot of it there. Okay. Here's one of my percentages. Okay. I would say.
Are we talking about the 6%?
Well, I was, my dad was homeless, and I got to kick it with him for a while. He just decided at one point, like, I'm not going to do this shit anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to pay bills. I'm not going to show up to work. Yeah. I just want to fucking get high, and I want to drink. Yeah. And that's what he did.
And there are some people like that.
And he found a lot of people that like to do that.
Yeah.
So he kicks it with them, and they usually have a clique. The homeless have cliques that they kick it with.
I've noticed that.
And what I've seen, I would say it's probably 90% of them are alcoholics or drug addicts.
Yes.
And they're tweakers. There's a shitload of tweakers.
Absolutely. You see it all the time.
that's what they're doing, and that's why they're doing it. And you'll see them. You know, they got their little cart or whatever, and they got fucking.
Or they even do shifts because you will see like them in pairs or in like triplets walking to like when they're standing at the lights asking for money. There's usually someone else across the street that's got a bottle of water or got something, and they like switch. I've seen that happen, and I'm speaking to it because I happen to live near the American and Sacramento River. You know, in North Columbus. So, I mean, there's lots of homeless.
There's a shitload of tents out there.
Not only do I see that on a regular basis, but I also work in the area. So, I see that, too, also by my work. And then, usually when I have leftover, like, food from, like, a potluck or, like, a luncheon at my office, I will go to the Rayleighs or near, like, the bus stop and give the leftover food to usually the women. I will find a homeless woman to give to. And she's usually got a crew or someone near her that she's with. I'm assuming that's protection or as companionship at least, right? But they do travel in packs. They're hardly ever alone.
They're dopers because one of them can get the fix. They get it for all of them, right?
Right, or get something.
And it was the same way. My dad was out there by Gill Winery in Lodi, and that's what I was going to talk to you about, Lodi. Yeah. So they make a batch of wine, and it's supposed to be 13%.
Okay.
Well, the wine comes out fucked up, and it's like 22%.
Okay.
Well, they can't fucking sell that. So what do?
They can't just dilute it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It does something with the taste and shit. The alcohol's... it's just like anything. There's a good,
like a certain quality that
there's a good area where it's cool. Like if you can sell it if it's 14% or if it's 12%, that's what is say like adjusted alcohol content is so much. But when it's too much, people don't want to fucking drink wine and taste that.
Sure, like it's watered down.
You know that,
not strong,
or like it's kind of like when you let wine sit for unopened or it's open and it's sitting there for a couple days and then you go to drink it and you're like.
It's got some staleness to it.
It's got like a vinegary taste or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's what he had the homeboy hook up out there at the Gill Winery because they would get all those there'll be barrels of wine like that.
Okay, yeah. Oh wow.
And these hobos would go get the barrels and fucking.
Oh yeah, that was a good time. That was a party.
Oh fuck.
That was a party.
But that's what I was telling you right there. When you come down 99 past Kettleman towards Lodi, if you look up on the right side of the freeway. It's fucking Tent City now.
Yeah.
Out on the freeway.
Yeah.
I can't believe that shit.
Yeah.
If it's not City of Lodi, then why isn't it California Highway Patrol or somebody fucking...
I mean, I have no idea other than, like I said, I mean, it's like San Francisco, right? The city council and allegedly, the powers that be, right? It's a humane thing to do, right? I mean, they have to do it somewhere. No. Designate somewhere because, I mean, as a taxpayer, I mean, if I lived in San Francisco... I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be writing every day like, look, I don't pay taxes to live here. First of all, it's already expensive as fuck to live here. But I don't pay
two-bedroom,
to live
like
here.
$2 million two-bedroom house now.
I don't pay to live here to smell shit when I walk outside or to see some fool, man or woman,
the fucking needles
shooting up right there. Like, I was listening to another radio show earlier this week, and a caller called in and was talking about how he had walked into his hotel lobby off Union Square. So I don't know the name of the hotel, but he walked into his hotel lobby and there was some homeless person in the lobby shooting up. How does that happen?
There's got to be a doorman or somebody there to handle that kind of shit.
And it's just I mean this is a sign of the downfall of society. If we are now allowing human beings and we care so little about them, but we're saying, we're just letting them do no, it's because you don't want to deal with them. You don't want to deal with their mess. Because they are messed up. There is a mess.
I think it's totally political. That's what I think it is. Because
and don't throw money at it. It's not a money issue. It's not a money issue.
Okay, I did this. This is over off of 16th and C Street. There's an underpass that goes into the Heights from downtown Sac.
Yeah.
Into the Heights.
Okay,
so me and my buddy G, we went over there and we were going to buy a sack of weed. I was probably like 18 or 19 years old.
How long ago was this?
Yeah, 18, 19 years old. Because they built some type of housing out there now. But, so we talked to this dude downtown and he's like, yeah, go under the bridge, you come up and over.
Yeah.
And sure as shit, we go over there and it's just blown up. I mean, anything you wanted, it was there. All the illegal, I mean, if I wanted to get a gun, I could have bought a gun there. There's fucking coke. The homeless got everything going on out there. I mean, there's a reason why they're doing that shit. And I'll never forget this scrubby ass bastard. He put his hand down his pants, fucking pulled out. I think it's Tito. He pulled out a big old sack of weed that was all sweaty balls and shit like that. Sticks, seeds, brown bud. It was. And what am I going to
do?
Well, we were just looking for something, but that wasn't what we were looking for. No. But after you go to that point where you say, hey, I'm going to make the buy or whatever, you're not going to tell the guy, hey, I'm not going to take it. So we took it and shit, and I was like, fucking, I will never do this again in my life. But what I kept thinking about to myself is, these people are allowing this to happen. I mean,
absolutely.
There's
They're
a lot
making
of
a conscious choice. Many of them are making a conscious choice to live that way.
The people that live on the other side of the tracks, they're nice houses. I mean, like, they pay to have that kind of shit cleared up. But at some point, this politician or the mayor or whoever it is allowing this shit to happen.
Well, yeah, because that money that is supposed to go to pay to remove that, it could better spend over here.
Yeah.
And you know what? And who makes that decision? Not us. I mean, because we as taxpayers, we're paying it for whatever they initially sold us on, whatever proposition, whatever, new amendment, right? More money for schools, more money for roads. I'm sorry. I went over a few fucking potholes coming over here from Sacramento to Galt, okay? I mean, the schools, not so good. I purposely moved to put my boys into a better school district because the school district they're going to, I mean, I'm sorry. The teacher's great quality, but without the right amount of support, and sometimes, yes, money is a factor, my boys are doing so much better. And school just started. We need some better way to... there's no accountability in government. There's no fucking watchdog there saying,
I
think there should be term limits, complete term. I mean, you can't run again. Yeah, ever.
Like the bullet train, right? So they're pulling money out of CalPERS. Yes. They're pulling money out of the fucking CalPERS retirement accounts. Yeah. And they're funneling it through the gas tax, and they're trying to raise the gas tax again. That's coming up,
which is ridiculous. What?
So they fucking say, "Hey, we're gonna tax you on the gas, and it's gonna help fix the roads and bridges. Some of that money is gonna help you. That the other money's going to other coffers, other places,
right?
And that's where the fucking bullshit starts.
Exactly,
and it doesn't stop.
Exactly, and that's why I, if ever, I don't know, I had the energy or decided that it was worth a shot, I mean, I would want to lobby to be able to identify where my tax money goes. Well, I mean, if I'm paying for it, I want to be able to, on my tax return, to say, hey, 10% of this amount of taxes that y'all took from my check every 2 weeks that could have gone into my kid's bank account, saving account, whatever.
A better home.
My business, a home, whatever.
Whatever you work for,
whatever I would like, because I earned it, I worked for it. But since I want to I want to contribute to society because I'm in the society, well then here, 10% goes here, 10% goes here, 25% goes here. I would love that.
Here's what I came across.
And I would like some sort of guarantee to know that my money is going towards the issues and the things that I am paying for. I am not willing to pay for certain things that my money's going to anyways. Which is really annoying. It's very sad.
Well, that's just it. They take a big pie and they chop it up into whatever pieces they want to spend it. And they're supposed to be, your assemblymen, your senators, your congressmen are supposed to be having your best interest in mind, but they don't. First of all, they take care of themselves.
Well, yeah, and they got to get reelected. That's why I removed myself, Kevin. So I don't know if you know this, but after Davis, I did a year-long internship at the state capitol, and I mean, people told me when I was in Davis, like, you have a career as a politician. Like, you could be in politics. Like, you have that type of personality, that type of drive, that type of charisma. And I kind of entertained that idea for a minute because I never really saw myself as being, like, in the center stage or anything like that. I mean, I think I do all right public speaking, and I'm passionate. But I didn't know if that was something that I could really pull off. And let me just tell you, that 1 year alone, I just saw well, first, I felt like the Capitol was a cesspool. It reminded me of a frat house, just everyone messing around with everyone else, boozing, all kind, just too much. I was like, I can't do that, number one. And then number two, just the focus was to get reelected. That was their main focus, was to get reelected. So, I mean, I'm going to listen to my constituents. I'm going to play the role. But bottom line, if I have to dance with my enemy to get what I want to get reelected,
that's what they do. Like, I want to roll on that tax thing I was talking about. When this last election, right, I'm a libertarian myself. I'm not a liberal, a libertarian.
Yes.
So, actually, the dude that I wanted that I wanted to win was Ben Carson. I really like Ben Carson. And then my second guy was
a pediatric neurosurgeon, correct?
He still is. I mean,
yes.
Now he's doing real estate and shit like that. But I think he's the HUD housing director now.
No, I think he was. I think he got fired. If I'm correct, I believe he was
I don't know.
Let go.
Fact check that, but I don't know.
Okay, fact check that, but I think he was let go.
But Mike Huckabee was another guy, and I heard him say something.
And that's Sarah Sanders' daddy, right?
Yeah. Well, it was amazing what he said was because, and I've never heard it about taxes, but he said instead of having income tax, let everybody keep their money. We'll have no income tax. Make as much money as you want, right? No tax on it. So that piqued my ears from the get-go.
I mean, I'm interested now, yeah.
Then he said what we'll do is we'll have a government sales tax. So whether you're a pimp, a prostitute, a drug dealer, an illegal immigrant, a vacationer, you know, whoever, if you're in America and you buy something, you pay a 10% tax to the government on the product you bought. So to me, that is a win-win. It's like a flat tax, but you're not only taxing people that have Social Security numbers or taxing people that have jobs where they get paid bi-weekly. Right. You're taxing all the under-the-table shit.
Yes.
Anything you buy in America is taxed at 10%.
Yeah.
So that levels the playing field. There's no fucking games being played because these people that are in the 40% tax bracket, they have the ability and the write-offs with their businesses or employees, stuff like that, to get their taxable income down to like 6%. And because it's a game, taxes is a game.
Of course.
So if you're a single man or a single woman in America, you have no kids, you don't own a house.
Oh, you're fucked.
You're getting super fucked, and you're probably paying like 30%
Thank
of
God
your
for my
income.
babies.
Yeah, you are. You're paying 30% of your income, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you may only make $60,000-$80,000 a year, but 30% of that 60 or 80 grand is a big chunk.
And that's what we were talking about, to loop it back to what you're saying. Like, kids now, someone in that situation today would not be able to buy a house, whereas someone in that position 30 years ago, or even 15 years ago, could buy a house, could buy a starter home, be on their own, be successful, and without any, handout.
Or it used to be like this, like my grandfather was a mechanic, right? He was a mechanic. He owned a house. My grandmother didn't work, They had like 6 kids. I mean, he had a job where he could. He didn't need a degree, didn't need a college status or anything like that. He just got out and worked, was able to provide for his family and own a home on a single salary. Nowadays, you need 2 salaries to make shit happen.
Yeah, my grandpa was a white-collar worker, but he was a World War II vet, and so he took advantage of the GI Bill. Very smart Chicano man, my grandpa, Jesus Picanales, rest in peace. And, but I mean, it was him, my grandma, 6 kids. He managed to buy 2 homes, Grandma, ran the house and went to, was garage sailing. Grandpa was he brought home the money, but they made it work, and that would not happen today. So
I really think that's what's providing a really big divide between the upper and lower class, because the middle class continues to shrink.
Absolutely, we're part of that class.
But taxing is the reason, and that's why people are leaving California. They're getting the fuck out of California.
Dude, I'm starting to think about it. And I love California.
Well, I've looked in a bunch of states, but like Idaho has their income tax is 4%, and their sales tax it differs from county to county, but it's like 1.5%. So in California, if you buy something for $100, you're paying $9 really for sales tax. So it's not $100; it's $109.
Yes.
Or if you bought something in Idaho, it's $101.05.
Yeah.
You say, oh, well, that's only $8. Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that adds up.
That's for the whole fucking year.
Yeah, that starts adding up.
That's for the whole fucking year. And then when you do your taxes, you don't get to write off that sales tax.
Yeah.
You don't. If you buy something big, they might let you write it off then, like a boat or a fucking new car or something like that. But you say I made $100,000 for the year. I spent the whole $100,000 in California because I've been living here the whole time. So that would mean I spent $8,000 in sales tax, and I got no write-off for it.
Yeah, see that's
fucking bullshit.
I agree.
So this is what I was thinking too. So if it was a 10, like Huckabee was saying, if it's a 10% sales tax, federal sales tax, right?
Yep.
That takes away for every state. It's the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
So then you could live.
Every state's the same. You could live anywhere. You're getting taxed the same kind of money. Yeah. But here's the thing too: if I buy let's say a $300,000 house now, right? I'm paying 10% on that, so I'm paying the $3,000. But by the same token, if a baller buys a $30 million house, he's going to pay $3 million.
Right.
It's even.
Right.
It's fair.
Right.
This is where people aren't understanding this, but there is a discrimination that's going on in America, and it's with taxes.
Yeah.
Because if you put it this way, you have lower, you have poverty?
Yes.
Poverty, then you have lower income.
You have the federal poverty line.
Then you have like lower middle.
Yes.
You have middle upper. Then you have upper. They have like 5 or 6. I think there's 7. They have 7 tax brackets. And if they flip that and they said, okay, the Asians are going to pay this, the Hispanics are going to pay this, the whites are going to pay this, the blacks are going to pay that.
Yeah.
Totally racist.
Totally racist. Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's not racism, but it's a form of discrimination in our taxes.
Absolutely, I agree.
That people are just rolling with.
Yeah.
Every American... It's
income inequality, right? I mean, it's just another way...
We should be equals.
Absolutely.
That's
the whole foundation or the whole idea of this great country, right?
Because people say, oh, well, look if you made $1 million, you're in the 40% tax bracket. I say, oh, yeah, I'm in the 40% tax bracket. Yeah. But I wrote off 35 of that 35% I wrote off, so I'm only paying 5%.
Right.
That's not right. It's not fair.
No, it isn't.
So those people that are doing that, and this is what it would do, is it's going to get rid of all the accountants, the tax attorneys, the fucking IRS.
Yep.
You're going to lose a lot of fucking paperwork, red tape, bullshit like that if you come up with a sales tax.
Bullshit, yes.
Because when you buy something, they already hit you up for the sales tax for the state.
Yeah.
So if you do away with all that other shit and you just add that 10% federal sales tax, then fucking all the books are done. Everything's done there.
Yeah.
And there's a way to there's a way to watchdog it too.
How?
Because people already there was a gas station here in Galt that got hit up for like $300,000 in back taxes, right?
Okay.
Because they had a paper trail of every sales transaction, all the shit for the sales tax he owes. So if you had a fucking government sales tax right above that, you would have the same paper trail for the California state sales tax and the federal government sales tax.
Nice.
There's a backup trail right there. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, backup trail. I like that.
Something needs to flip though. It's not
absolutely.
We can't keep going this way. That's why I was thinking it might be the end of America is the fucking tax.
Is the tax system? Yeah, it's going to come down to money because at this point that's what kind of rules the world. It's money. It's
you know, I looked into this
it's
too.
It's not land anymore like it was, 500 years ago when we were still being discovered, right? I mean, now it's wealth.
Yeah.
Who owns what?
Well, you know why they came to America. You know why the Pilgrims cut off from England and decided to come to America, right?
Well, there's a lot of reasons.
It was high taxation.
But
they wanted religious freedom and stuff like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like there were a lot of different reasons why there. I mean, there was a caste system,
taxed.
There was taxes.
20%.
Yeah.
That was.
And also just being governed by a body that was far removed from you, not even there. So it's kind of like
But they were all up in arms over 20%. That's what they were up in arms about.
Right.
I was fuck you. You're gonna take a fuck 20
I don't want no more damn tea. Then give me some water.
Yeah. It just blows my mind. It's like 20%. Like I would love to pay 20%. We got fucked. We get super fucked on our taxes.
Absolutely.
Last year we couldn't even claim the girls.
Oof.
And it was only because we were over by like $3,000 or something.
Oh my god.
And that's a big $3,000.
Yeah. That makes a difference for a middle class family.
Yeah, because if you claim your kids, you're like $3,500 each kid, so that's a $7,000 tax deduction. So that's a $10,000 swing in money right there.
Yeah.
It's a $10,000 swing. That's basically $800 a month.
Yeah.
$200 a week.
All I know is Marco and I have owed like every year for like the last 5 years.
You need to buy a bigger place. That's what it is.
That is a very sore subject because I've been saying that, but anyway.
Hey, but that's and here's the super fucked part. And I know Jody, if you're listening with Jay, she was telling me that it's not going to happen this way, but now in California you can only write off $10,000 of mortgage interest. That's what the new tax plan does, right?
Well, shit.
So that's cool if you have a house that's $250,000, $300,000.
But most houses nowadays are now worth or selling at $300,000 and up. So how is that even possible?
Well,
what's the point?
Here's the real fuck part. If you bought a $700,000 or $800,000 house and you're paying $30,000 in interest a year, right?
Yeah.
Now that you only get to write 10 off. So that 30 grand you're making on your house payment and the interest, it's no longer cool for you to do that.
No.
And you watch the fucking real estate market after tax season next year.
Oh.
It's going to fucking...
Yeah, thanks.
Because people no longer have... You would say, okay, it's cool. I'm going to make this payment and I'm going to pay $25,000 a year in tax. Mm-hmm. But I get to write that off.
Right.
Now there's no incentive there.
Nope.
And if you're a multiple property owner where you have 5 or 6 rentals, right? Mm-hmm. Your fucking 10 grand's ate up on your first house. So those other ones...
So what's the point of having these properties, which like most people who really plan, I mean, this was part of my plan, was to have a second property for retirement.
Yeah.
You know, or simply just to make money. This is my I want my money to make my money for me, so that way I'm not going to rely on my 401k or whatever. I've got to be smart about that stuff,
it still works for you, though, if you're paid off, if you're cashed out.
Right.
But if you're paying that interest on those loans of the other properties, then you're fucked.
Right.
That's coming around.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't see it, but it's coming around. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. We're going to still be doing this after tax time next year, so I'll admit that.
Damn straight.
But we'll go ahead and close out taxes. We're getting close to our time here, so what do you go ahead and pick one?
Pick one.
Well, let me move the chair. It's blocking the board.
Okay. Well, I mean, what are we gonna talk about now? Ooh, we got some good stuff up there.
There's a couple. Yeah. I'm getting hot.
I mean,
there we go. What do you got? What are you thinking?
Man, I'm really stuck because, I mean, I feel like we kind of touched on the religion a little bit, just a tad. But, I mean, we could talk about Me Too. We could talk about
Me Too?
And
Throw
this
it up
whole
there.
Asia Argento situation. We could talk about
Explain to the people who might not know about Me Too who Asia is.
Okay, so we all know about the hashtag Me Too movement, which was, you know, women in Hollywood stepping up. That's how it started to, you know, bring to light the sexual harassment, right? The assaults in Hollywood culture, right?
Like Harvey Weinstein.
Right, Harvey Weinstein. I mean, but in general, that's just women are dealing with this across all industries. It doesn't have to be just Hollywood, right? And so Asia Argento happened to be one of the first women to come forward, and she actually formally accused Harvey Weinstein of rape. So no assault, no harassment, but actual rape. And so she's kind of been like one of the faces and the voices of this movement, right? Along with like Rose McGowan. Anyway, so she recently came out that an actor that she worked with in the past when he was a child, and then
he was like 17.
Well, that's when it happened, but she worked with him. They were actually in a movie together when he was like 9, and she played his mom, which I thought was weird, and he was her son, right? And so at some point he turned 17, and they essentially ended up in a hotel room together and allegedly had sex, right? And so the story goes that he started hitting her up last year when all the Me Too movement started coming out, and basically said, hey, you actually did this to me when I was 17. Like, you were a predator to me. And so her boyfriend at the time, the now deceased Anthony Bourdain, allegedly paid this actor, and he's now like 26 or so, paid him, you know, something over like $300K to be quiet. And so this guy is now stepping up and saying, hey, this happened, and it's really funny, you know, that Asia happens to be the spokesperson when she's a
hypocrite, yeah,
is a perpetrator. And so, you know, that got me thinking, right? And so of course she came out and denied it, but then allegedly there's these text messages. So anyways, all that aside, you know, I guess what I wanted to touch on is, you know, the fact that women can also be predators. Women can also assault, not just men, but other women.
If you're in a position of power.
Right. If you're in a position of power, and if you're, I mean, obviously older in age. She was at the time, I believe, 36, 37, and he was 17. So, I mean, let's not forget that, you know, boys too, men too can be assaulted. I mean, you know, Terry Crews, right?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
He reported to have been assaulted, and he's a big, you know, hunking man. He's not no kid, no chump, but I mean, it happens, right? And so, so that's one thing I wanted to kind of just like highlight, and maybe it's because I have sons, so I think about them, and I think about those milfs, those cougars that are out there. My goodness gracious!
Nah, see,
right?
Well, maybe because I'm dirty-minded, but I don't think the 17-year-old kid, you know, is having any issues with getting with her, especially since
I kind of think that too.
You know, he's a payday kind of thing.
Maybe it is.
Because
I do think there's a difference between powerful women and powerful men.
Well, see, I don't think too like Harvey Weinstein. He's got the casting couch thing. Like, well, if you do this, then you're gonna get a job.
Asia didn't have that kind of power.
Yeah, she wasn't. She
was a Mrs. Robinson essentially.
What she did was it was statutory rape, is what it was. That I think that's the main issue right there.
Right.
And that's like the dude, I forget, man. I think he lost to the guy Lamb, when they were running for the Senate race in like Arkansas or something. And when he was 29, he was dating like a 16-year-old girl.
Oh, okay.
You know, and this is back in the like late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. And back then, like, it was kind of like the parents were like okay with her dating him. Yeah. Because this guy's already got his life together. He can provide their daughter with a good life, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was different circumstances back then. Right. But the same consequences come today, because the way things were back then are different than they are today.
Absolutely. I mean, and sure, we can judge them for what they did in the past, but at the same time, I mean, back then it was okay. I'm not saying that it's okay now, but I mean, it's really hard to judge when you weren't, you know, there. I mean, just like things, I don't know. It's really hard for me to speak on it, because I understand like how unsettling it is for us, but back then it just wasn't.
Well, I think what it does is it dilutes the issue. Yeah. When you have hypocrisy in it, it dilutes the Me Too issue. Right.
That's kind of what his point was, with, I guess, busting her out essentially to the world and saying, look, you know, she's the face of this, saying, you know, we shouldn't be doing this. This is what happened to women, but what about us? And so, and speaking to that, I also do want to point out that there is some correlation, you know, between being a victim and also as a victim becoming a predator later. That is that's a very common thing.
Do unto others as you had done unto you.
This is what I learned to do, and so I don't know any better. I mean,
I'm just thinking,
or that's just part of your psyche that this is okay to do. So I'm going to do it, even though.
I'm just thinking though, you got a 17-year-old kid who's probably getting hard on.
Oh, he had a boner. You know he had a boner.
And then you got this hot 36-year-old lady trying to get step to it, and you're like, I just don't think
who is experienced. Okay, knows how to.
I just don't think there's any ill will there on her part, other than fucking her getting some and him getting some.
Right. But I mean, obviously she wasn't complaining.
The chance comes for him to get monetarily
and that's where he looks bad too. Yeah, that's where he looks bad too. Like look, dude, you got hush money for this, so you should have just taken your hush money and be quiet. And the fact that Anthony Bourdain paid for it, like, damn, dude, and he's dead, and you're gonna go and bust her out anyways after he paid you, like.
My thing is, I don't like these people like Meryl Streep, Oprah Winfrey, Dustin Hoffman. You got a bunch of them. Gennaro. They're all buddy with Harvey Weinstein, and for like 20-25 years. I mean, there's some sample clip where Meryl Streep calls Harvey Weinstein God. Yeah. At the Academy Awards and stuff. Yeah. These people knew he was like that. They knew he was dirty for that long, and it was just okay. Yeah. And he held all the cards.
Yeah, you know that. I mean, and that's what it. So it's so funny, because that's what it was like at the Capitol. And like I said, I was only there for a year, but even within that short time, and mind you, I wasn't even, super social. I really didn't go to too many events. I really kind of kept to myself, because I was just so disgusted by the behavior, and like I said, I wasn't in any cliques or circles in particular. But even I knew.
If you want to call out Governor Brown right now, I'm down. Just say,
no, if you want to say he's dirty. Was not actually Schwarzenegger was governor at the time, and it was so beautiful to meet him, because he's a lot shorter than he appears to be, but man, his eyes are the bluest, like the clearest, like lake water. I mean, just beautiful. And so it was nice, because I was kind of like,
he came to Galt High School. He came to Galt High School, and my mom met him there. She said, I can't believe it. He's short.
He's short.
Yeah, she said he's maybe 5'9", 5'10".
He works.
Same thing with Stallone.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, but he was really just chill. He wasn't any kind of way, and he respected the whole no smoking thing. It was funny, because he actually had like this little tent in the middle of his the courtyard in the Capitol. So it was covered so that we had privacy, and it kind of stayed contained. So. I thought, you know.
So you're saying he tried to finger bang you?
No, no, he was a good hugger though. But you know, he had, like I said, wide, broad shoulders. I was like, let me just go around your waist. Here we go.
Well, we better clip out. We put in good work.
Already?
We did good. Yes, you did good, Carla. Thank you for slipping in today.
All right, no problem.
So we'll cash this one out. Let me oh man, well, let me get this rolling for the exit action.
All right.
And then get off stage. Thanks again.
All right, cool.
We'll see you next week. Don't forget to subscribe.